All right, CNT125, Chapter 7, Network Function Virtualization. So we can virtualize a desktop or a server on a physical box. We can also virtualize things like firewalls and routers as well. This becomes handy as you have an infrastructure of virtual machines. You could actually have a virtual router to control traffic between, and even a virtual firewall that would filter traffic coming in and out of those. So network function virtualization is just that. I'm going to potentially have a virtual firewall, virtual router that I'm using to get access to or move data between my virtual machines, in addition to maybe some physical entities that you have on your network. So software firewall can be, Windows firewall, that sort of thing. Dedicated firewall could be things like your Cisco ASA or Fortinet firewall that we're going to be using later this semester. But a virtual firewall, this is going to emulate that, but I can use it in a hosted virtual environment. And I threw a couple examples here for you. Advantage of this is these again can be automatically migrated, moved from one server to another in case of a failure. Sometimes the resources are used more efficiently, only allocating what I need. And these can also sometimes be scaled up or scaled down depending on the need of my network. Disadvantage, I still have licensing. I'm not going to get away from, not paying my licensing on a particular device. Sometimes the level of licensing enables the features that you have. Some virtualization fans are not comfortable with having that virtualized firewall. They need, something else in the network controlling traffic. That's a concern. That's a concern. Cloud computing, I'm now going to look at how I'm going to manage my resources in a virtual environment, if you will. So with cloud computing, data storage, application services for multiple clients. So with cloud computing, if I think cloud storage, I'm thinking things like my Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, that kind of thing. Cloud hosting, I'm thinking things like Gmail, web-based applications like Gmail. Just kind of getting your brain organized. Some of the big players in cloud computing, if I take a look at, again, these are numbers from the end of 2023. Amazon Web Services, a big player, followed closely by Azure and Google Cloud. These are some of your big ones out there, some of your big players out there with cloud computing. If I were to do a quick ping of hack.edu, ping www.hack.edu, it's not going to respond to me. That's fine. It's programmed not to. But what I find out is the hack blah, 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 if I look right here, is being hosted by Amazon Web Services. So the hack homepage, hack.edu, is actually hosted by Amazon Web Services. Just, giving you something close to home that you can relate to. So your cloud computing has some features. I can have on-demand service, based on my demand. I can actually have that scaled up and scaled down, as we see down here. We have broad network access, meaning if I'm going to go back to the hack example here. Once upon a time, the hack homepage was on a server sitting in one of the hack buildings, one of the hack Harrisburg campus buildings. So any traffic going to the website was going into that building and then leaving, if you will. And most of the time that was fine. Most days out of the school year that was fine. When it got to class registration time, those handful of days where there was a lot of traffic of students going and saying, I would like to register for this class, I'd like to register for this class, sometimes the hack homepage was not available. There was so much traffic going in and out of that data closet, if you will, that the web traffic was having trouble getting in and out. So I'm losing track. It's been quite a few years now, might even be best part of 10 years ago now. The hack web server was offloaded to Amazon Web Services and hosted out there, so the registration traffic does not affect that. And it's also broadly available. No matter where students are scattered around the region or even scattered around the country, you have access to that hack homepage. I've even had access to it traveling and visiting family in various parts of the country, from Maine to Montana. I have had access to that website without any issues. Down here with meter service, rapid electricity, again, if demands change, a lot of times these cloud service your cloud service server, if you will, can be programmed to ramp up and give you more storage, more memory, if you will. And then as the need dies down, it basically dials that back down. There's a lot of functions in there that allow flexibility and availability. Most of your cloud service providers are going to use virtualization software to supply multiple platforms to multiple users, multiple customers, if you will. So really, if I have, again, I'll pick on the Hack homepage. That Hack homepage is on an Amazon Web Services server somewhere, and most likely it is on a virtual machine on a physical server in an Amazon Web Services data center. That's most likely what's going on, and they have access. The Hack website managers have access to that server to be able to put files on and take files off for that web page. So that's why these two topics often get dumped together. Most likely that web server is on a virtual machine on a physical server. That's typically what's going to happen. And this is just showing you lots of different things that this virtual server could be doing. So it can also provide virtual desktops. So you could have a user desktop that is very minimal on capabilities, and literally the server provides the users with a desktop to use, desktop operating system coming from the server. Developers can load all kinds of software on the servers and test it. As we said before, we could gen up a virtual machine, put it in host-only mode, and developers could work on it and try it. Does this work? You could even, write code, those sorts of things, and run under there and try it before it goes live on another system. And as the developer, make sure it's in development server, secure, backed up, etc. But I could have it in a kind of like that host-only mode, if you will, where it's very isolated. Cloud computing service models. There's lots of different models of cloud computing that could be subscribed to or used. So they go from on-premise the whole way up to anything as a service. So let's take a peek at these real quick. First one is on-premises, meaning you literally buy the server, you install it, you maintain it, you do everything on it. So on-premises is it's your whole deal. You buy the server, you plug it in, you power the server, you install the operating system, you install the web server software on, you install the files on, you maintain everything on. It's your entity. That's on premises. For many people, that was the way things operated, I'll say 20 years ago. If you wanted a server, you had it all. You bought it, you installed it, you maintained it, etc. The next cloud service model is infrastructure as a service. With infrastructure as a service, the vendor down here is maintaining a bunch of this stuff down here. Most of these things down here, the networking, storage, the server itself, the virtualization, and then you're maintaining some of the operating system, but then the data and the applications. That's what you're maintaining. So here, the customer wants to use the vendor service to store data, host websites, provide email, DNS, DHCP server, but they need to provide their own. They'll need to maybe install the operating system and then go from there. But the actual server, the networking, all that is being maintained by your service provider. That's infrastructure as a service. The platform as a service, now the vendor is maintaining even that. And now you just have the data store and the applications. So an example with my wife, with her business, we actually have a hosted website for her. And basically this is what we take care of for her. Putting the files out there and then those kinds of things for it. Everything else is taken care of for her. We just put the files out for the website and maintain that. So the platform as service includes the operating system, the runtime, the modules, the OS, the applications, and hardware. You just need to maintain the data on there and updating the data, that sort of thing. The last one is your software as a service. Software as a service. This, pretty much everything is maintained. You're just subscribing to the service. This would be things like your Office 365, Google Docs, those sorts of things. Gmail, Yahoo Mail. Everything is being maintained for you. You just basically subscribe to the service. And if you have, many users in a company, you might pay per user. You might pay a licensing per user for that. That's your software as a service. The last one they mentioned is the XaaS. This is anything as a service. This could be a combination of, depending on what that customer or that client needs, it might be a combination of things. We need this for our email, but then we're going to maintain our own server for this function. You just give us the virtual server, we'll do the rest from there. We're going to do this for maybe our database work or our timekeeping or something like that. That would be anything as a service. So deploying these could be a combination of public, private, community, hybrid, cloud kind of thing. So public, using public transmission lines, public cloud, Gmail, etc. Private, you're owning it all. You're maintaining your own virtual servers, etc. I'm maintaining my own virtual servers, and the employees in the company have access to them. Community might be a medical database between hospitals. Maybe the database of patient, that's the word I was looking for. Patient records, patient health records, that sort of thing, that multiple hospitals can get resources from. So, the Harrisburg Hospital and then the one in Mechanicsburg, they're part of the same system, so they should be able to access the same records for a patient of Doug Brown. Doug Brown is a patient, if you will. And hybrid is a mixture of some private, some public, etc. So these are the different deployment models that you might have for cloud networks. All right, we'll pause there and come back in the next one.